OPSEU SEFPO. I'm super excited to be here with you despite all this rain. Look around us. Even in this kind of weather, we have the strength in numbers. We have the solidarity we need to stand here and show this government that we are powerful. This is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah!
And we're here today for change. We're here today to march to demand respect for all workers. Woo! I'm speaking on behalf of 180,000 OPSEU SEFPO members to say that we are tired of just being called heroes. We are tired of empty lip service from politicians. We want respect, we want dignity, and we want action.
That's right!
Right now, we are tired of laws that cut working people's pay and infringe on frontline workers' rights that have no place in our province.
I have no idea who he is. Go ahead.
Employees lost fucking seniority to a bunch of tyrants. 17 men who discriminated against women and then turned around and robbed 20,000 employees of their jobs. And what did Kewpie do? They turned around and they bent.
She's not Kewpie! She's not Kewpie! She's not Kewpie!
I'm not Kewpie, but I appreciate the commentary and the passion to fight for all workers. Our workers in the public services have been giving everything we can to keep this province going during this pandemic, and the Ford government is still imposing wage caps.
Shame!
Don't just call us heroes. Repeal Bill 124 now.
Yes!
We're living through a global health crisis. Healthcare workers are stepping up to the plate every day, pushing through burnout and risking exposure to COVID-19 to keep our healthcare facilities up and running and everyone treated fairly. But what does the Ford government do? It puts laws in place to override our collective agreement.
Shame!
It's not enough to have lip service around calling us heroes. You have to repeal Bill 195.
Yeah!
Then we also have the Pandemic and Emergency Preparedness Act, Bill 106. That allows them to override our collective agreements and undermine pay equity.
Shame!
Now is the time to repeal Bill 106. We are here today to say we've had enough of Ford and his anti-worker agenda. We're all workers, and when you attack the public service sector, you attack us all.
That's right!
In 1 month, friends, on June 2nd, it is time to vote Ford out. Enough of his bumper sticker slogans. Enough of trying to distract voters with license sticker payouts while workers are fighting for a living wage. It's enough of underhanded privatization schemes that turn public funds into private profit.
Shame! Shame!
Today, we marched to Queen's Park to tell the Ford government that we have had enough.
Yeah.
We demand safe working conditions. We demand a living wage. We demand racial justice, and we demand equal pay for equal work.
Woo!
A better Ontario is possible as long as we stand together. And all of us here are standing on the shoulders of giants, of the activists who came before us, the ones who stood in solidarity to achieve an 8-hour workday, paid parental leave, the right to refuse unsafe work, and stronger protections against harassment and discrimination. Every piece of worker-friendly legislation is built on the bodies of workers.
That's
we
right.
owe it to them to stand in solidarity and continue to take this fight forward. They made this province better for all of us, and today we can make Ontario better for the coming generations. So I pledge to you that on June 2nd, OPSEU SEFPO is voting to repeal Doug Ford and to build a better Ontario.
Yeah!
All we have to do to look at his agenda that's coming is to look at the so-called Budget 2022. We see increased privatization. We see the groundwork for austerity measures. What we don't see is anything meaningful for any worker in this province. Ford has got to go. He is not working for workers.
That's right.
So on election day, join us to build Ontario, to vote him out. You can find OPSEU's platform on buildontario2022.org. And while we're not busy surfing the web, we'll be mobilizing in every single workplace and community where our members live and work. Because OPSEU SEFPO members are everywhere. And we are fierce and we are ready for this fight.
Yeah!
Government, head on. We're ready to stop their anti-worker agenda, and we know we are strong when we march together with our allies across the labor movement, across every workers' organization, and in every community in Ontario. And on this May Day, OPSEU SEFPO is marching with all of you, with all workers, to fight for the Ontario that we deserve.
Yeah! Woo!
Okay, let's hear it again for JP, a union president that will make a difference. Our next speaker is Kingsley Kwok. He's a therapist at Scarborough General Hospital. He's a member of OPSEU, but today he is speaking officially on behalf of the Toronto and York Region Labour Council. Welcome, Kingsley.
Woo!
Happy May Day!
Happy May Day!
Allies and comrades, siblings and friends, my name is Kingsley Kwok. I bring greetings from Toronto and York Region Labour Council representing 220,000 members across Toronto and York Region. Since 1871, 150 years ago, the Labour Council has championed principles which improve the lives of its members. Today, we work for justice in our workplaces, in our politics, in our communities, and in our world. We work for economic justice, social justice, racial justice, and climate justice. We call for a just recovery for all. International Workers' Day has been celebrated by workers in the majority of countries around the world. It's a day of worker solidarity and protest for justice everywhere. I want to give a shout out to the Labour May Day Committee for organizing the largest international Workers' Day event last year. By over 50 endorsing organizations with hundreds attending on Zoom and thousands watching the live stream. Toronto and York Region Labour Council is happy to endorse the 2022 Labour May Day rally. May Day began when workers stopped working and organized a demonstration to demand the 8-hour week. The first celebration was so uplifting. A mass work stoppage, which they decided themselves, gave workers greater faith in their own strength and greater courage to organize. It motivated new agitation for the 8-hour day, and it was decided to repeat the celebration every year. Even after workers got the 8-hour day, the struggle against the bosses and the government continues as long as all demands are not met.
That's right!
People can't wait for change. People are struggling with home care. They're struggling with long waits for surgeries, long waits in the emergency department, and for long-term care placements. People are working harder than ever, while the cost of living and the cost of homes make it impossible to get ahead. People are stretching their dollars now to try to keep up with the rising prices of food, gasoline, and homes, and more. We need to come together to defeat Ford and the Conservatives right away. Start to fix the things that really matter to everyday families. You know, they always say that we are lucky to have jobs. But the workers are not respected by this Ford government.
No.
Let me count the ways. In 2018, Ford and his conservatives canceled the $15 minimum wage. The delay until January 1st, 2022 to raise the minimum wage took $6,000 out of pockets of minimum wage earners.
Shame!
In 2019, Ford and the Conservatives announced plans to cut funding for public health units, local ambulance services, regional ambulance communication centers. It was only when we protested and resisted that they backed down. Remember that? That was
That's
only
right.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
In 2020, when Ford and the Conservatives declared a pandemic emergency, they were so slow to require corporations to install protective barriers and give personal protective equipment, and so late to call in the Army to step into private corporate-owned long-term care facilities. We know what happened. They were devastating. They were
Yes.
tragic.
Yeah.
Outbreaks in congregate settings, outbreaks in migrant worker bunkers, food processing factories, even personal fitness centers, deaths, and deplorable living conditions in long-term care facilities. During all this time, Ford and the Conservatives changed emergency leave in the Employment Standards Act. That change, along with the delay in protecting workers with emergency leave, left so many workers and their families vulnerable to COVID-19. So many got infected, brought the disease home, and then their older generations ended up in intensive care. And when we want the Ford and the Conservatives to change, they were silent. They deflected.
Yeah.
When we call for livable income support for workers who lost their jobs during the pandemic, like the workers in the travel, hotels, and hospitality industry, workers in the entertainment and stage production, part-time workers, contract workers, casual workers. Remember that.
Yes.
Ford said he had to wait for Trudeau to pay income support.
Yeah.
What happened to
Shame!
our taxes that we pay to his government? Okay, I know you're kind of getting bored with me counting his ways.
No.
Let me just remind you, in 2022, Ford and the Conservatives think that they can buy your votes with a pre-election rebate while spending our public dollars helping their friends instead of investing where it counts. They sent 175,000 quick COVID test kits to private schools and corporations, while kids in early learning centers, public schools, and even paramedics were left without.
Yeah. Shame!
Only a few months ago, they cut back government services so much that they had to ask Walmart to give out quick
Yes.
COVID test
That's right.
kits.
Shame!
I didn't make it up. Even the news reported. When Walmart told shoppers that the test kits were only available after purchasing $30 of goods. Remember that? That's privatization for you. That's what we are here to say no to, and that's what we are mobilizing, rallying, and marching today, so that a month from now, we vote the guy out. Workers of the world and oppressed people unite.
Yes!
So together, we can fix this. If we come together, we can defeat Ford and the Conservatives. Today, I'm marching for climate justice, affordable housing, an end to racism, decent work, livable income support for all, paid sick days, a $20 minimum wage, and well-funded public services. Solidarity!